New year, but familiar and comfortable compromises. Today the Prime Minister hinted that further restrictions may be necessary in a few weeks.
It may be that we need to do things in the next few weeks that will be tougher in many parts of the country. I'm fully reconciled to that. And I bet the people of this country are reconciled to that. Because
what might tougher be?
Until the vaccine really comes on stream in a massive way, we're fighting this virus with the same set of tools.
But this afternoon, the Labour leader called for an urgent national lockdown in the next 24 hours.
Nationwide lockdown. The Prime Minister is hinting that that's going to happen, but he's delaying again. And we can't afford that again. We can't allow the Prime Minister to use up the next 2 or 3 weeks and then bring in the national lockdown that is inevitable. Do it now. That's the necessary first step to get the virus back under control.
As the UK battles to keep the spread of the virus down, England enters another debate of if and when to lock down again. The government has already confirmed some primary schools in London and the South East will join secondary schools nationwide and stay closed this week. But there are fears across the country that hospitals may become overwhelmed. Between Christmas Day and yesterday, there was an increase of 5,800 COVID patients in NHS hospitals, a 33% rise.
Can you see it getting worse than the first wave?
I don't know, but I suspect it will. We know that we haven't hit the full peak of what happened over Christmas. We know that New Year's Eve, there are plenty of people out, and that will affect what happens. So I hope not, but I suspect it will.
Do you think further lockdown measures might prevent a situation like what's happening in South East and London, and possibly school closures?
I can see it from both sides of the fence. My children suffer from having online learning, especially if you've got teenage boys. They're not good at sitting still for hours on end. And it's really affected them. I had coronavirus. My kids have been isolating for weeks in the first term. It's a massive problem. But we know this disease spreads through teenage children. And we're seeing multiple cases of people who are on intensive care who have caught it from their children. So there's a strong argument for both. And I think that's where Public Health England need to make a decision.
Today's demand for a nationwide lockdown follows a wave of resistance in England against the planned reopening of most primary schools tomorrow. The Prime Minister said this morning that closures were under constant review, but encouraged parents to send their children to school tomorrow if they're open.
I understand people's frustrations, I understand people's anxieties, but there is no doubt in my mind that schools are safe and that education is a priority.
In the meantime, some local English councils have said they won't open schools anyway, and the National Education Union has advised teachers they can refuse to return to the classroom if they feel it's unsafe. Further restrictions have recently seemed inevitable, but under mounting pressure they may come sooner than the government had planned.